Welcome to CrashMagic. In this video I'm going to show you the performance and then a tutorial of a really simple pick a card trick. The beauty of this trick is its sheer simplicity, and also the other thing I like is for any magicians who are watching the trick when you perform it, a couple of the more obvious ways that you might do a pick a card trick are sort of dispelled throughout the performance. So let's get into it, see what you think, and if you like it there's a tutorial at the end. Sometimes keeping it simple can be the best way. So let's do a pick a card trick, but I think you're going to really enjoy this one. So if you could select any card from this pack, anyone that you like, let's say you choose this one here, and if you could look at and remember that card, make sure I don't see it. And now if you could place it anywhere back in this pack, anywhere you like. So let's say you choose here. Now there's no way that I could know this card or this card. Is that fair? If you think I do, place it somewhere else, anywhere that you like. So your card is back in the pack. There's no way I could possibly know your card. As we've just agreed, there's no way I could know the card that's just underneath your card or just above your card, but there is something that I do know at the moment, and that's roughly where your card is, because I saw where you put it back in, so I know roughly. So let's sort that out by giving the cards a really good shuffle, and I mean a good shuffle. I'm going to show you this so you can see this is a fair shuffle. All the cards are being mixed, and we're even going to drop some on the table. Let's put that back. That's the best way to do a shuffle, drop cards on the table. Okay, I think you'll agree that was a very fair shuffle, and now the one bit of information I did know, which was roughly where your card was, I now have no idea whatsoever. But let's see if we can find your card. Okay, can you see your card on the table? Hopefully so. And let's see if we can find it. If you concentrate carefully on what your card was, and if you can see your card, was it in this half or this half? I don't think it's in these cards here. Let's move these out of the way. Let's make things a little bit easy for ourselves. I think we're down here somewhere. Maybe in this section, somewhere in the middle of here. I think this might be your card here, the 10 of clubs. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and if you did and want to learn how to do it, here's the tutorial, and it's really simple. So this trick involves a stacked deck. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, a stacked deck basically means you put all the cards in a certain order and you know that order. Now, personally, I don't like using stacked decks too much because the obvious downside is you have to set the pack up in a certain order to start with. But for this trick, it's so simple and really easy to do that I think it's worth it. And if you're doing, say, a bit of a routine, maybe you're doing 3 or 4 tricks in a row and you set the pack up to start with, you can start with this trick and then go into other tricks that don't involve the stacked deck. So some of you might know some ways and have your own ways of stacking a deck in a particular order, some quite sophisticated ones. This one though is really simple, and for this trick it works absolutely fine. So all we've done is alternated the suits throughout the pack using the mnemonic chased. So clubs, C, hearts, H, spades, S, and D, diamonds. So they just rotate through that sequence: clubs, hearts, spade, diamonds, clubs, hearts, spades, diamonds. And the values just count up in threes. So here we've got an ace, so the next card is 3 more than that, which is 4, plus 3 is 7, plus 3 is 10, plus 3 takes us to king, and then if you add 3 that then loops round to ace, 2, 3, 6, 9, and so on. So this is a really simple setup, and as you can see, this because we're using this setup, it means all the cards are in alternate black and red order. So you might think, oh well, that's going to be a bit of a giveaway to the spectator. But again, another nice thing about this trick is the spectator doesn't see the deck in its stacked format. And during the performance of the trick, if you remember, we actually shuffle the pack. So by the time the spectator sees the face of the cards, the pack has already been shuffled and they're not in a stacked order anymore. So once you've got your cards set up in their stacked order, you can then of course do any amount of false shuffles and false cuts to keep the pack in the same order. The other thing of course you can do is cut the pack, or allow your spectator to cut the pack as often as they like, because of course cutting the pack doesn't change the order of the cards, it just changes the rotation, so the actual stacked order is still maintained. Now you then ask your spectator to pick a card. So normally I'd spread them between my hands like this, and they can pick any card they like. It's a free choice. And the reason I do it between my hands like this is because when they've taken their card, you need to split the cards at this point, because what we're going to do, the pile that was on top, we're going to make sure that goes down on the table. So once they've taken their card, I'll probably use this as a pointer and say, so if you can look at and remember your card, then we put the pack that was top down on the table, and we put the other pile on top. Now all that means is that the card that they've selected, the card that was before it in our stack setup, is now on the bottom. And just by knowing that bottom card, we immediately know what their card is. Of course we haven't seen this yet, but I'll show you a number of ways how we can see this during the trick. So the spectator looks at and remembers their card, so they've got the 2 of spades this time. And again, another lovely thing about this trick is, even though we're using a stacked deck, really all we're interested now is, like I say, that bottom card. So that means they absolutely can place this card anywhere in the pack, it makes no difference. So how do we see that bottom card? Well, there's obviously a few things we could do. We could just turn over the bottom card, see that and know that the next card was 3 more, and then we know it's a spade, so 2 of spades as we already know. But that's not a great trick, just to look at the bottom card and say yours was the 2 of spades. So in the performance I did a number of overhand shuffles, and all you need to do is apply a slight bit of pressure to the bottom card as you're doing your overhand shuffles, and that bottom card will remain in place. Of course you can do any shuffle you like as long as that bottom card stays in place. The rest of the cards, it makes no difference what order they're in. So again, of course you could also do a riffle shuffle, where you riffle and make sure that bottom card hits the mat before the rest of the cards do, which will again keep their bottom card in place. The other thing you could do, of course, which I didn't do, but what you could do is you could either do some shuffles first or not, but you could pick up the pack, and as you do so you can just glance that bottom card. The second you've glanced that bottom card, of course you know their card is the 2 of spades, and at this point you could give the pack to any of the spectators to shuffle as much as they like, because you now already know their card. Of course, once you know their card is the 2 of spades, you could reveal it in any way you like. As you know, I just spread the cards out, spotted where the 2 of spades was, made sure it was visible to the spectator, and then use some sort of method to say, oh, I don't think it's in this section, and then eventually you narrow it down and reveal that this was the card that they selected. So as I say, I think it's a really nice simple pick a card trick, and the lovely thing about it is, as I was saying, it's an obvious stack because it's red black, but either yourself or the spectator or both by the end of the trick have shuffled the pack so much that they can then freely examine the pack because it's not in any discernible stacked order or red black order or anything like that. Well, that's the end of the video. If you liked it, please like it and subscribe. If you've got any comments, leave them down below, and see you soon.